It's the Flirtations and Nothing But a Hard Take, and that starts our hour. Starts it off really well, and that was chosen by Gary Lightbody, who was loving every single second of that.
I always do. Such a tune.
Yeah, well, we asked for a song to fill a dance floor, and that absolutely fitted the bill. Your tunes are so eclectic. They're so great that you've chosen for us tonight, so thank you. Because the next one is a real contrast, but I'm not going to give away what that is yet. So you are here tonight, just hang out with us on the show, really, but also
thank you for having me, by the way.
It was always nice to have you on the show, but to talk about this record. So the album is Final Straw. It's from Snow Patrol, of course, and Gary is here with us right now. And you're here to talk about the 20th anniversary edition, which is released tomorrow.
Yes.
The significance being?
Well, it's literally 20 years ago to the day.
Oh my gosh.
It's the 4th of August 2003 and the 4th of August 2023. Wow.
How life has changed. What was going... Set the scene for us. What was happening for you at that time, 20 years ago? What can you remember of it?
Well, I guess we were playing to maybe 20 people a night, maybe. And
literally, was it?
Yeah, maybe 20, sometimes less. One time we did a show to one person.
Was it a good show?
No, not very good. We had there was 3 people on the stage at that point and one person in the crowd. So there was 3 times as many people on the stage as there were in the audience. But yeah, 20 people was maybe 40 people if we were lucky. And thank you, by the way, to everybody that came to those shows. Yeah. That was amazing. And sometimes we just ask because we didn't have anywhere to stay, couldn't afford hotels or anything. So we would ask the audience, can we sleep on one of your floors? And people would come up after the show and go, yeah, you can sleep on our floor. And so people are always so lovely. And
you literally did?
We slept on people's floors and slept in the back of the van. And
wow.
Just the way, it's a rite of passage. It's what every band has to do.
Oh my God, I really hope that someone is listening right now who actually had you to stay at their place, and they'll get in touch and tell us whether you were good guests, whether you...
I don't know if we tidied up after ourselves or not. I apologise if we didn't, but yeah, no, people were so lovely.
Yeah.
And so that's what was happening then. We were we just signed to Polydor Records, so our first Fiction Records, an imprint of Polydor, and so it was our first major label deal after 10 years of being a band.
Yeah, so this was your third album, wasn't it?
This is our third album. We had 2 albums on Jeepster Records up to that point, and then we went from getting dropped from an indie label to signing to a major label, which is a slightly strange way of doing it. And
what was that like for you?
It was amazing. Everyone's so lovely at Fiction. Jim Chancellor is one of the greatest human beings that's ever lived.
So tell us who he is and what he did.
Jim Chancellor he was the MD of Fiction Records. He was the driving force behind the record label. He is one of the loveliest human beings on the planet. He believed in us when nobody else... We went to every other record label in the UK and they all said no. And that is with Ron and Chocolate and all those songs that ended up being, hits.
Wow.
Everybody went, no, you guys have already failed on an indie label. Why would we sign you to our label?
They could see no potential in you or those songs.
No, and Jim was the only person that took a chance on us. And then our management at the time found us Jackknife Lee to work with, and we've worked with him for 20 years as well. So
why was he important? What was he going to bring to the party?
Well, he had just he'd worked with Kasabian before that, but he was in a band called Compulsion, a punk band, and then he started making his own records, more kind of electronic records, as Jackknife Lee. And then basically he brought out in us something I think that was dormant, something I think that we always secretly wanted to be, which is like just be unashamedly ourselves. I think we were trying to I was trying to smother everything, I didn't want a chorus because choruses weren't cool and all that sort of stuff.
You just wanted to be a little indie band.
I just wanted to be cool. I wanted to be an indie band, okay. and there's nothing wrong with that at all. And I still have a big part of me that is very indie. But he saw in me, I think, like somebody could write a chorus, and he was like, "No, you have to let this out." And it was because even Run, the way I wrote it was kind of like slightly discordant chords, like in the chorus. If you can imagine Run with kind of like sort of Sonic Youth kind of chords in the chorus. And
there's a demo version of that, isn't there, on this record? I think the vinyl's coming out.
There is a demo version. I'm not sure what point the demo version gets to in the sort of the process, but we were playing Run from like 2001, maybe end of 2000. I wrote it. and we were playing that in our set, and it was always kind of a little bit dirgy in the chorus. And Garrett went, no, you have to let this be a chorus. So he kind of changed everything for us, really.
Let's play it. Let's take a break and we'll play that record. You brought me the vinyl in, so thank you very much indeed. What colour? How do you describe this? The colour of the vinyl that is on? I'm
going to say
the turntable by the side of me.
Golden.
Gold. Okay. Golden beige.
Golden beige, yes.
And we'll play this. And we've had so many people getting in touch and sharing their memories and their thoughts and their feelings, what this song means to them, and other songs as well that you've done. But I know people will absolutely love hearing this. So I'm just going to make sure it's loud. And I'm going to go, because people sometimes don't believe we actually play the record.
Well, we're going for the actual. By the way, this is really, there's really a turntable, and it's really happening.
And you brought me the record in, so I might as well play it. Why don't we do that? If I've got it lined up right, yeah. Oh, listen to the hiss of the vinyl, just to prove that we are playing it from vinyl. Gary's here from Snow Patrol, and that was run, of course, from Final Straw. The 20th anniversary edition is out tomorrow. How did that feel? Did you like?
Well, I couldn't believe you played all 6 minutes of it again.
Well, that's how we began this whole thing.
That is how we began. For anybody that's listening that doesn't know the story, I'm just going to embarrass Jo here by telling it again. And Jo, you played all 6 minutes of Run back in December 2003.
Wow.
And it wasn't supposed to be a single. It wasn't. I mean, it couldn't be a single. It was 6 minutes long. And you played it out of nowhere. And then Radio 1 went crazy. And people started requesting it. We released it, a 4-minute version of it, the next year. And it went in at number 5 in the charts. It was our first top 5 single, and the album was re-released, and it went at number 3 in the charts, and it was our first top 3 album, and it was all because you played Run in December 2003. That was all because of that. And 20 years later,
here we are.
I just want to say thank you.
Oh,
massive thank you.
Well, I was just doing my job. I used to do that daytime show on Radio 1, and I used to have, I think, 4 free plays. So it really mattered what those songs were to me, what we listened to. And I think my producer at the time was Piers Bradford, and we'd listen to stuff. And if it leapt out, if it impacted us, if it made us feel emotional, whatever, then we would play it. And we listened to that, and it just felt incredible, and it deserved to be played, and we wanted to play it, and we wanted to play the full version as well, and that's what we did. So I was only doing my job, and that's what I always do. It's an amazing song, and it means so much to so many people.
Oh, well, thank you.
This is from Beth in Walford. I just want to say that I love Snow Patrol so much. They've been my favourite band since I first heard Run when I was 20. I managed to find a beautiful acoustic version to walk down the aisle to earlier this year, and I just had to have them involved in the big day. I'm very lucky to have a husband who supports my love for the band. You're an incredible talent, Gary, and we're lucky to have been blessed with so many beautiful songs over the years. Thank you very much indeed. And
thank you, Beth, by the way, and congratulations.
Diane Costello said, I forgot to include that this song was playing when my dad passed away and continued playing every day for weeks afterwards. I was really close to my dad, and he had lovely blue eyes. So when I hear the lines, even if you cannot hear my voice, I'll be right beside you, dear. It means so much to me. And we have more messages here. My father loved this song when it was released. He's now 85 and has dementia. That year he went on holiday and he requested this song in every bar, and live singers on the Greek islands always knew this song, and he still loves hearing it now despite the dementia. How is that to have written something that means so much to people, that touches people's lives?
It's hard to sort of comprehend, but when you write something, you hope it finds its way to someone, and then when it finds its way to many people, that song doesn't belong to you anymore. It's like it gets covered by people, it gets sung karaoke, it gets taken into people's lives, weddings, and moments that mean to people and mean a lot to people, and it's absolutely incredible. There's no real way of trying to quantify it in any form other than to say thank you to all those beautiful messages and all those people.
Alison in Aberdeenshire said, I've just had a major flashback hearing Run, one of the most beautifully haunting songs ever written, to Live 8 in Edinburgh, which would have been about 2005. They were using it for some of the videos, and then to hear Snow Patrol sing it live was something I'll never forget. So were you involved in that in Live 8 in Edinburgh?
We were Live 8 in Edinburgh.
Possibly.
Possibly. Sorry.
I hate it when people ask me where I was and what's happened, and because it's very, very difficult to remember everything. This is one I wanted to read. Julie in Brussels. I was 23, living on my own when Final Straw came out. My first steps in adulthood were pretty rough, and this record was a real companion at that time. I lost my grandmother in October 2004, and Run was my blanket song. It gave me light, it gave me support, like a hand that holds you tighter. Oh. Amazing words. Thank you very much indeed, Julie. By way of contrast, should we play your song that you we asked for a childhood song, and you've gone for this particular song? It's quite a contrast to Run. It's by AC/DC.
Oh, right, okay, yes.
Tell us about your love for AC/DC.
Well, who doesn't love AC/DC, first and foremost? But I was listening to, when I was a kid, I listened to a lot of heavy rock and metal, and I was sort of thinking it's probably the wrong place to play Anthrax. So I think probably.
See, I bet you had a school bag that had Anthrax, AC/DC, all that written on it. I bet your hair was really long.
I very much did. So I thought AC/DC would be fun.
AC/DC and Back in Black, chosen by Gary from Snow Patrol. See, that takes me back to being on the school bus, going around all the villages, heading for school, and sitting next to a guy called Andrew Woodward, who would convince me, or try and convince me, how great AC/DC were, and I just sit there and go, I don't think so. So you were also that boy who was just...
I loved AC/DC. I was just saying to you when we were listening to it, I would pretend to be Angus Young with a tennis racket. I mean, he had a guitar. I had a tennis racket. And sort of duck walking around my bedroom, and then I got a guitar.
Yeah.
And I realised I was never going to be Angus Young. Not in a million years. About a million years of practice, I wouldn't be Angus Young.
Didn't he wear a schoolboy's uniform? Is that what he used to do?
Yeah, he still does. Yeah.
Does he really? Oh no. Amazing. So do you listen to a lot of rock and heavy metal when you were younger?
I did. Yeah. It was pretty much exclusively sort of metal.
Okay.
Yeah, sort of like Anthrax and Pantera and Metallica and Megadeth.
Wow. First band that you saw. And then you started making music like Snow Patrol. How did that happen?
I know. But this is the thing, because the second gig, I know we're going to talk about the first gig I went to, but the second gig I saw was Nirvana in Belfast. And Nirvana kind of changed everything for me. That was my awakening moment.
Okay, so tell me about that gig. What it was
It was the most extraordinary gig. I think it still is the best gig I ever saw. It was Nirvana, Teenage Fan Club, and the Breeders, all in the one gig. Wow. It's like it still amazes me that they were all in the one place at the same time. And it was just life changing.
It was that scene though, wasn't it? It was such an exciting time.
Yeah,
it really was.
And that's what, like, every time Kurt loved the band and said about it in an interview, I would go and save my pocket money and go and try and get the album. So I was listening to Teenage Fan Club were on that tour, and they were on my ticket, and I went to get bandwagon-esque, so I became obsessed with Teenage Fan Club, and the Paul by the Breeders was out at that point, and then The Last Splash came out the next year. And, it just introduced me to a much more sort of varied kind of, I say he introduced me. He introduced all the people that loved Nirvana to a much more varied kind of bunch of bands. Whereas before I was just I just wanted to double kick drums and a lead solo that would take your head off.
You don't have to go into detail. Who was the first band that you saw live?
It was Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, okay.
And Rollins' band were supporting. Henry Rollins was supporting. One of the most terrifyingly amazing performances. Yeah. And then Red Hot Chili Peppers were incredible. Any band that came to Belfast in those times, we loved forever. We would go and see them because they went there. Hardly anybody did. So Red Hot Chili Peppers came in 91, Nirvana came in 92, and Kurt actually said about 4 months after that gig that Belfast was one of his favourite shows of all time.
Oh my gosh.
Not 4 months after that gig. It was a month after that gig in an article.
And that would have meant the world to you, someone who was there witnessing that whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people at that time said great things about playing in Belfast because the crowds were just so starved of international rock acts,
Yeah. Okay, questions that are coming through. This is from Maria in Birmingham. I would simply like to ask Gary how he is. He kept me going in lockdown with songwriting. I was part of it all and have my name in the Fireside album. Truly blessed to be part of such an incredible group of people who helped raise money for the Trussell Trust. So, Maria just says, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Maria. I hope you're well as well. Thanks for participating in the Fireside sessions. That was really fun. Yeah. Did that during lockdown.
I guess that kept you going as well.
Yeah, just starting with nothing and writing a song live on Instagram every Saturday was really fun.
Wow. And so what's your life like at the moment? What do you do?
I'm
got
writing
any new
with
passions, or is it still music?
I'm writing with a lot of different artists at the moment, like co-writing, and then we're working on the Snow Patrol record, the next one, and that's coming along very nicely.
Okay, tell me about the formation. How are we into it?
The songs are written. Some of them are 3/4 of the way recorded, let's say, and they are sounding. I'm very, very excited.
Are you?
Very excited.
Oh, okay. So when might we get this? When might the record come out? Next year sometime.
Next year. What I'm hoping is the first half of next year. But I've made promises in the past, and I'm not allowed. I'm just the rest of the guys in SP are like, don't make any more promises.
Right. Listen. I want to talk to you about this record, Nadine Coyle from Girls Aloud, from Derry, which I believe Johnny's from Derry. Is that right? Yeah. She was on Scott Mill's show yesterday, I think, and she has done something of a tribute to I don't know if it's a tribute to Snow Patrol, but she's done this. I'm just going to play it to you now.
Okay.
And you tell me what you think of this.
If I lay here, if I just lay here, would you lie with me? Yeah, just forget the world. Forget what we're told before we get too old. Show me a garden that's bursting into life.
There you go. If I just lay here, Nadine Coyle, Gary Lightbody. What do you make of that?
I love it. I absolutely love it.
It's kind of like
brilliant.
trance.
It's brilliant. I think it's great.
It's the first time you've heard
Nadine. I haven't heard it before. That's great.
Okay, so your message to Nadine is...
That's amazing. It's awesome. I love it.
You're happy with it. Another person who's just got in touch who used to work at Radio 1, so one of my old producers, and said, it's almost 20 years, almost to the day, since Gary was doing Crazy in Love at Maida Vale with Zane Lowe. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Memories of that day?
Doing
the rap, I think.
Well, Zane did the rap.
Oh, did he?
He did a brilliant job. Really a brilliant job. It was amazing. And you know, that funny end to that story, not end, but you know, I met, name drop coming, I apologise, but it's a good story. We were doing a session in LA, a radio session, and Questlove wandered into our session. Questlove from The Roots. He just wandered in, he sat down.
That's a good name drop, that's fine.
I'm like, what? Like, cause we were just looking going, that's Questlove. We're recording, and we came out, and he was like, we came out and spoke to him. He was like, he just looked up from his like laptop and went, I really hoped you were going to do Crazy in Love. And we're like, oh no, sorry, we didn't. We're just playing acoustically. And he's like, you know, I play that when I'm DJing. And I played that at a party for Beyonce, and she danced to it.
No way!
So Beyonce was dancing to our version of Crazy in Love, a Questlove DJ. I was like,
is amazing.
What is going on in my life? That's awesome.
Wow. Let's play another track that you've chosen for us, and we asked for your exit song. So as you exit planet Earth, what would you like to be listening to?
What did I say?
Ocean.
Oh yeah, it said. Oh yeah. Okay.
Pink and White.
Yeah, this song is. I don't want to get too. We're having a nice time. I don't want to get too. But
it's right. It's nighttime. It's the radio. It's
we
intimate.
were making Wildness, our last album, and I was struggling a lot with my mental health, and like I was in a very, very bad place. I couldn't write. I had complete writer's block, and I just felt completely useless. And I found this record many, many, many millions of people found this record as well, Frank Ocean Blonde. And Pink and White came on, and I listened to that song maybe 200 times in a row. I just couldn't stop listening to it. And it gradually brought me out of a very, very dark, deep place. And that song feels like the most healing piece of music I've ever listened to, because it brought me back from the brink. And I will always be grateful to Frank Ocean, even though I don't know him, but he put something out in the universe that has, well, it saved one life. I know that. Thank you, Frank Ocean.
Yeah. That's the way every day goes. Every time we've no control. If the sky is pink and white, if the ground is black and yellow, it's the same way you showed me. Nod my head, don't close my eyes. Halfway on a slow move. It's the same way you showed me. If you could fly, then you'd feel south. Up north's getting cold soon. The way it is, we're on land, so I'm someone to hold true. Keep you cool when it's still alive. Won't let you down when it's all ruined. Just the same way you showed me. You showed me love. Glory from above. Regardless, dear, it's all downhill from here. In the wake of a hurricane, dark skin of a summer shade, nose dive in the floodlines, tall tower, milk crate. It's the same way you showed me. Cannonball off the porch side, older kids trying off the roof. Just the same way you showed me. You showed. If you could die and come back to life, up for air from the swimming pool, you kneel down to the dry land, kiss the earth that birthed you, gave you tools just to stay alive and make it up when the sun is ruined. That's the same way you showed me. You showed me love. Glory from above. Regardless, dear, it's all downhill from here. Real life, remember how it was. I'm King, Michael Jackson, all in. Say what up to Reddy, the shoe. Say what up to Penny. Say what up to life and mortality. Living on my bikes, running up. Out for me, 18, still in Granny 6. Take it easy. Give me something sweet. Shit, I might like immortality. This is life, immortality.
Frank Ocean, and that is Pink and White, and that means an awful lot, means the world to Gary Lightbody, who's with us right now. I guess
that's an extraordinary piece of music. That whole album is incredible. It's just incredible.
We were just talking while that was on, and you were saying about certain lines that spoke to you from that record.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think just that's the way every day goes. We've got no control. You know, it's like the very first two lines. It just feels like he understands he understood what I was going through, and sometimes, you know, that's all it takes is somebody to, like, you feel like you're shouting into a void. It's when the void sings softly back at you is when you feel like you've made a connection. And sometimes it's a piece of music, sometimes it's a friend, sometimes it's a sunset. But there's plenty to reach out to there. I just it took that piece of music to get me back to my friends, to get me back to my family, to get me back talking to people again. Talking, I think, is the thing that truly saved me. But that piece of music was the connective fibre between me and reality.
I think we've spoken before about this. I don't know if it was that episode, but there was a time when the band came and they saved you.
Yeah.
Was that the same time?
Yeah,
or was
it
that
was
another
around
episode?
the same time.
Right, okay.
I was able to talk to them because Frank had,
Because of Frank.
because
Thank goodness for Frank.
Helped me find my voice again.
And I guess that goes back to, I think it was Maria earlier on who was asking how you were. Do you still struggle with your mental health? Is it still something that's ever present?
It's an everyday. I think it's something that you have to keep you have to keep vigilant about. I do practices every day. I do hot yoga every day. I'm in the cold every day, like a cold plunge or in the sea every day. I do stretching. I'm in the gym 5 times a week. Meditate. I do, I keep on top of my mind and my body so that I don't slip back into that place again. But it does take sort of almost constant vigilance to stay out of there, because I think my mind is very creative, so it will create disharmony for me if it's let just be by itself. So I tend to have to either do something physical like yoga or in the gym, or write music. And I found if I'm doing something active or I'm doing something creative, it'll quiet those voices.
Is the disharmony good though? Is that important? I mean, not good, but is it important as an artist to be able to write those songs that touch other people?
No, for sure.
So you
and
have to let it go.
I think focusing that into a song is the way that I've found helps. I think without focus, with just letting it do its own thing, I think that's when it can get destructive. And I just kind of go inward and don't leave the house and don't answer the phone and all those things that sort of lead you to a darker place.
And that will resonate with many people. I'm sure there are people listening right now, even to me. You know what it's like, and but it's hard to get out of that. It's so hard to make the change, to go to the gym, to do the run, to do the yoga.
No, it is, and I even some days I wake up and I go no, but I've trained the voice in my head that tells me off. There's a voice in my head almost constantly telling me I'm rubbish.
No way.
It uses other words, but we're on the radio. So I've trained part of that voice to say, no, get up, get to the gym. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, if you're going to be shouting at me, then I want you to be constructive. Yeah. So go to yoga, get in the cold. You know what I mean? So it's like I at least have that. It's not an ideal scenario, but it's at least
it's a coping strategy.
Making lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah, yeah. Do you live alone?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and sport and fitness is incredibly important to you.
Yeah, absolutely, every day. But I totally understand if people are going through, times where they feel disconnected from everything.
What would you say to someone who is listening right now?
Talk to someone is the best remedy for it. And if there is no one to talk to, if you're in a place with no one to talk to, I would try and be like, get up, go for a walk, get out of the house. Don't stay in the house. That's where your mind echoes off the walls inside the house. Yeah. It's only going to get louder in there. But I found that talking to people, talking to a therapist, talking to my friends helped an awful lot. Whereas I wasn't doing that for a long time.
Do you drink, or are you completely teetotal now?
I've been sober for 7 years.
Really?
Yeah.
And that helps. That's made a huge difference.
That helped a massive amount, because I mean it was the. I think after the first year of sobriety, it started to help. I think the first year is a little bit of a tightrope walk. Yeah. But after the first year, it started to help. Yeah.
Andrew is listening and said, I relate completely to what Gary is saying about mental health. Sometimes it's just a smile from a stranger that can lift you for a complete day. So
isn't that the truth, Andrew? Yeah.
Right, a song to make you happy. Marlena Shaw, will that do the trick for you?
Oh my goodness. Now
Let's do that, shall we?
Yeah.
It's Marlena Shaw and California Soul. Gary Lightbody is with us at the moment, just playing some tunes and talking, which is the best thing in the world. Just listening to Gary, this is me. Cold water immersion is the only thing that helps me working towards sobriety. Thank you. That's from someone who's texted in 9987. Your show is great tonight. My name is Sarah. I'm in a dark place at the moment, and this young man has lifted me this evening. What a fine young soul. And the music is great. Thank you so much. And Lauren from Leigh-on-Sea, thanks for allowing us listeners to sit in on tonight's show, loving every second and have a newfound love for Snow Patrol. Such wise words. So it makes a difference just being honest,
Thank you. Was that Sarah that was... Is
Yeah, it
Sarah
was.
now?
Yeah, it was Sarah who's in a dark place at the moment.
I'm so sorry to hear that, Sarah. I hope you're...
Yeah. Sally, blown away by Gary's vulnerability, sharing his story tonight. I didn't know about Frank Ocean, and I do now, queuing up the Spotify as I type for listening to after your show this evening, obviously.
Start at the beginning of the album Blonde and work your way through it. You will not be disappointed.
Listen, up close and personal, let me ask you some questions. What do you consider as your job title?
Me?
Yes.
That's should be a really easy question, right? Songwriter.
There you go. What was your first job?
It was Paperboy.
A good paper boy, or did
No.
you?
No. I was filling in for a friend on a friend's paper route, but technically it was my. I think I got 50p for it.
Who is your hero?
I have too many heroes. Seamus Heaney.
The writer.
Northern Irish poet, Nobel Prize winning poet. I think, along with Kurt Cobain, he was the sort of main reason why. Kurt Cobain was the reason why I wanted to start a band. Seamus Heaney was the main reason why I wanted to write in the first place. His poems. I had an amazing English teacher at school called Mark McKee. Hello, Mark, if you're listening. And he read Digging by Seamus Heaney, the very first poem in his very first collection called Death of a Naturalist, aloud in class, and I wasn't really listening. And as soon as he started saying those words, I went, "Oh, hang on a minute! Whatever this is, I want it in my life forever." And he has been in my life forever. So
Yeah. So if you're going to recommend anything to read,
I would start with Death of a Naturalist and work your way through. There's some incredible books of poetry. There's 12 books of poetry, but he also did translations. He translated Beowulf, and I think he won some massive award for translating Beowulf, and he wrote just so many incredible things. He's unfortunately not with us anymore, but he was an extraordinary man.
what's your favourite dessert?
We went from Seamus Heaney to dessert.
It's important.
Banoffee, I think. Yeah.
That'll do.
I realise now that we're in the quick question thing, and I took really long to answer one.
You don't do quick. What's the best award you've ever won? It can be a music one, it can be something at school, it can be for whatever. School report, I don't mind.
To be honest, I'd love to answer this slightly more goofily than this, but it really meant a lot to us. We won the inaugural Ivor Novello for Best Album.
Yeah, I remember this.
It makes even more sense. It was for Final Straw.
Aww.
Final Straw won, and it's voted for by musicians, so it was voted for by our peers at the time, and that really means a lot.
Who's the most terrifying person that you've had at one of your gigs? So a musician watching you that's made you just quake.
Oh, right, okay. That makes that. I thought you meant like somebody that was,
Henry Rollins.
just sort of casually, like sort of patting a baseball bat into their hand while they're watching.
No.
We were playing the Isle of Wight Festival in, I think it was 2007. Apologies to the Isle of Wight Festival if I've got the year wrong, but REM were headlining. We were on before REM. I turned to my left and Peter Buck was standing left-hand side of stage. When we were playing Run, my goodness, all these stories are related to Final Straw, and by accident, I promise you, by accident. And then I turned to my right, and Michael Stipe was standing on the right-hand side of the stage, beaming with smiles. So it wasn't so much that they were terrifying human beings. I was just like, what is happening right now? Two of my all-time heroes are watching us play. You have an out-of-body experience when somebody that you revere is watching, and you know that they're watching. It's like unlike any feeling. I felt very unusual and also gleeful.
Did they say anything to you afterwards?
Yeah, they were very nice. And then I ended up starting a band with Peter Buck.
Of course,
years
you did,
later,
yes.
Tired Pony.
Yeah.
So we became friends.
Oh, lovely. What else should we do? Karaoke? Do you do karaoke ever?
I haven't done karaoke in a long time, but I would. My first thought is Living on a Prayer. I don't know why, but it's just the first thing that came to me.
There you go. It's always in you, the rock. And what's the coolest feature in your home? Something about your home that you love?
It's not in my home, but Belfast Loch is like right outside my window, and I can go and swim in it anytime I want, which is every day. So it's not it's a geographical feature.
Do you play board games at all?
Yes.
And what do you like? What's your favourite board game?
Trivial Pursuit.
Oh, are you good at it?
I do all right, but it's not that I win every game. That's for sure. I know lots and lots of smart people, so I probably shouldn't play Trivial Pursuit, to be honest.
Okay, we're going to play a song that makes you cry. Tell me about the one that I'm about to play now.
Well, there was too many songs. So many songs make me cry, and my first thought was Sinead. But,
oh my gosh! Yeah.
But I wasn't sure that I'd be able to listen to Nothing Compares to You and then talk after it.
Did you know her well? Sorry,
no, I didn't know. I know we did correspond back and forth at one point, but that was many years ago. And
what did you think of her?
She was extraordinary, a visionary, a singular voice, extraordinary human. It's one of the greatest singing voices that has ever graced the planet. But just so you know that when you asked me that question before we started, that's my first thought. Yeah. But I'll just say that I love her music and her spirit very much. But we'll maybe play Otis Redding, These Arms of Mine, which always makes me cry as well.
Otis Redding and These Arms of Mine, which is probably the final song we'll manage to squeeze into our show tonight, Gary. So
I might have gone on a bit. I do apologise.
No, don't apologise for anything at all. It's been so lovely. I knew it would be absolutely gorgeous, and it has been. Message from Sue. Thank you, Gary, for sharing your dark moments. My English teacher at Methody inspired me too with his love of Irish literature. We love you in Northern Ireland, so never forget that.
Oh, thank you, Sue. Thank you.
Lovely, lovely message. So tell us again with Snow Patrol, next year is when we will hopefully get a new album from you.
Yes.
Writing subject, where are you with your thoughts and what's going on that's informing the songs that you're writing at the moment?
Lots of things. It's funny. I've written a lot of songs. I've sort of avoided love as a subject directly. And
why?
In the last few albums, the last album is more about my kind of mental health, and this time, I'm sort of trying to write about love in a different way. I'm not in a relationship, so it's a good place to write about love from a distance, and trying to sort of make sense of it a little bit for myself.
Memories of love, or
make sense of it in my head. Maybe I haven't taken that time to do that and spend some time. Dedicate that time to it. Respect. The love should be respected, I think. And
when was the last time you were in love?
It's a little while ago. A little while ago.
Yeah. Exciting that day will come again then, hopefully.
Yes, yeah.
How are the rest of the band?
Yeah, they're good. They're good. Everyone's doing their own thing at the moment. Nathan just released a fantastic solo record, which called The Strange Order of Things. If anybody wants to check that out, it's a fantastic record. And I think everyone else is just doing lots of other things at the moment.
Okay, just to reiterate, Final Straw, the 20th anniversary edition in a lovely gold beige colour.
It's a lovely
vinyl.
Gold beige. Yeah, Joe has invented a colour, and that's what it is from now on. It's
out tomorrow, and it's a thing of beauty. It's absolutely gorgeous. So you should definitely go and get it if you're a Snow Patrol fan, or if not, you'll be converted. Gary, thank you very much indeed. It's been so nice to talk to you.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me.